is the downing of two Russian warplanes inside of, I guess that you could say, controversial territory here. The Russians claimed that they were about a kilometer within Syria. The Turks who shot down the planes claimed that they were over Turkish territory and that they had warned several times for the planes to turn around. One thing is pretty obvious, guys. This is definitely the story of the day across every media outlet. You can see it here on the Wall Street Journal. You can see it in the New York Times. And of course, the sort of Western mouthpiece, not that the others aren't, but Reuters here. Now, what I want to point out, guys, is that in my opinion, this might be maybe the most significant, and if not one of the most significant moves towards turning this war into a hot war. Um, it's one thing to have, rebel groups that you're funding and supplying fighting other rebel groups within a country. And in the case of Syria, we have rebel groups fighting the government of the country. But it is quite another to have a country which is a NATO member country shooting down a Russian warplane. This is what changes things from proxy wars to, I guess, what you would call legitimate, real, on-the-ground hot wars. Not to say that the death and destruction that's happening isn't any more or less real either way for those involved. That being said, I just want to point out some of the obvious propaganda here going on, from Reuters. If we go down here, Reuters is talking about how, Russia refers to what they're doing in Syria as a sort of moral crusade. But what's interesting is that if I go down here to this paragraph, they describe how Moscow, helped by state-controlled television, has used these reverses to rally public opinion, portraying the campaign as a moral crusade that Russia must complete, despite indifference or obstruction from elsewhere. What I find interesting, guys, is that little catchphrases like that, state-controlled television, that's supposed to kind of conjure up in the American public and the Western public that's reading this bullshit the idea that, Russia is just lying to their people completely, and that what you hear from the Western outlets is in fact the truth. So while I'm not suggesting that, the Russian government is any more honest to their people than any other government out there, I am certainly suggesting that for Reuters to come out and try to claim that the Russian media is doing anything different from any Western media outlet, including Reuters itself, is completely false. Reuters engages in more propaganda than any Russian outlet you could care to name. So guys, like I said, I think the main reason that this story is important is because this war, to me, this might be one of the deciding moments between what makes it a proxy war and what makes it an all-out war where countries are actually declaring war on each other, as opposed to, say, the U.S. declaring war on ISIS. I don't know, we might have some action with legitimate, large countries going on in the world here, some G8 countries certainly getting involved. And I think that it's also quite obvious to those involved that Turkey, there's really no way that Turkey could have felt legitimately threatened by Russia if Turkey honestly felt that Russian warplanes were going to come and bomb their territory. I think that that's quite obviously not what was going to happen. That's the kind of thing that would get, I guess you would say, the West exactly what it wants. It's the kind of thing that could justify more Western intervention in the region. So to me, this is just an excuse for, Turkey to basically take a shot at Russia that they wanted to take anyway. And it's an excuse for them to take a step towards making this war a hot war while still having a sort of excuse to kind of run back to and sort of hide behind. So, guys, let me know what you think, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this topic once again real soon.